Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order, that being the regular council meeting of Warwick Township Council on October 28th and at 3:30. I'll ask council, does anybody have any disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest at this time? Seeing none. Also like to welcome everybody who's joining us through our Warwick Township YouTube page. And now I'm going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs, and we offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. I'm going to go to number 5 on the agenda, council, and that is minutes of the previous council meeting, that being the meeting of October 7th. Anybody have any questions on those minutes? I entertain a motion then. Moved by Councillor Manning, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And there is no business arising from those minutes, Madam Clerk. Thank you. And we're going to go to 7 on the agenda, council. 7A, and that's council and committee meetings and dates. Does anybody have any questions on 7A? Seeing none. 7B, other meetings and events. The one that is of most interest is the Roma meeting. And just a note on that, we will eventually hear from the Roma board on opportunities to meet with ministers. So maybe think about where you think maybe we should be having those conversations, with who. And we'll obviously look at that probably in the next meeting or maybe one after that. So just I'll put everybody, ask everybody to do their homework on that and bring their suggestions to a future meeting. Thank you. Let's go to number 8, councillor commitments and items. Councillor commitment dates. Does anybody have anything for commitment? Councillor Morris.
Yeah, I'm going to be absent from February the 23rd to March the 3rd.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? As always, if you have something, you can always hand it to the clerk and let her know at any time. Let's go to councillor items. Let's start with Councillor Manning. Councillor Manning, do you have any today?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Your Councillor Deputy Mayor Callenberg.
Just from the police committee report or meeting we had the other day and in the last few meetings, just an urgency. The impaired driving is running rampant in Lambton County at the moment, and just thought I'd bring that up if you didn't read in the minutes. So it's they seem to be getting out faster than they're putting them away. So I don't know if we can do anything about it or not. But
Maybe just one more thing, Deputy Mayor. The other issue that we'll be talking about here, and we'll be dealing with it at budget, but is the pricing, the cost of policing, which has been astronomical, another huge increase for pretty much everybody in the province of Ontario. I don't know if everybody's heard about that or not, but maybe what I will do, if the treasurer doesn't mind, I don't want to put you on the spot, Trevor, but maybe you can just give a quick snapshot of what those extra costs look like. And I know we're going to get into it later on.
Yeah, it's taken away a little bit of my thunder, but it's 97,000 increase from last year, which translates roughly to the 3% tax increase alone. So we're seeing a 16.5% increase on our policing costs.
Those numbers just came out a couple of weeks ago, and everybody in Ontario is struggling with it. There's lots of discussion behind the scenes with municipalities about trying to find a way to deal with it. But again, with salaries increasing and collective bargaining contracts outside of police personnel as well, these costs have really gone up. So anyways, just wanted to let everybody know that. And John brought up the policing situation. It was a good time to talk and mention it. Councillor Morris.
Just one thing, I think it's the mayor drain Tom Shea brought in. Do we have any more report up on that? The engineer was supposed to get back to him and he hasn't yet.
I will reach out to George and Armin to find out where it sits.
Thank you.
Anything else, Councillor Morris?
That's it. Thank you.
Good. Councillor Westgate.
I have nothing today.
The only thing I have is we're talking about engineers and so on. We still are waiting from Spreets Associate and their engineer on some of the possible opportunities to improve our drainage system within the Watford area as well as the Warwick Township area. We still haven't got that information back. I know that I've been asked by lots of people in the public if we've received that information. Talked to George from Spreets about a week ago and they are working on it, but at this time they still don't have it available, just to let everybody know, because I know we're all getting questions about that. We're all eagerly waiting that information coming from them. So just a point to everybody that's been asking, just to let everybody know. Okay, thank you. We have no staff items today, from what I understand. Very good. And we have no delegations. Let's go to accounts if we can, council. Did anybody have any questions on the GL report today? Seeing no questions on the GL report. Did anybody have anything on the quarterly variances? Yes, Councillor Westgate.
I just had one thing on the repairs and maintenance on a lot of the machinery. We're over on it. Do we change the way we're approaching things, or what's happening there? Especially in the parks, or not the parks, but the roads and stuff.
The majority of the repairs in public works are on vehicles that have been ordered to be replaced, but haven't been replaced due to the backlog of being 3 to 4 years out of order. And also where we've been going historically, which has been the cheapest, closed this year. And we've been going to a new alternative, which is substantially more. And there's been complaints about that from our staff that we're gonna have to look at it come budget time.
Follow up, Councillor Westgate.
No, that's fine for now.
Thank you very much. I'd entertain a motion to approve both the GL and the quarterly variances of council. Moved by Deputy Mayor Callenberg, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to number 12, the consent agenda, council. At this time, I usually say, did anybody have any questions on A to G? But I think there is a question today. Councillor Morris, if you'd like to maybe ask your question, you mentioned it to me earlier.
Yeah, I have a little problem with F and G. I just got to get to it here for a second. The planner's report. Johan, like, there's some words in there I don't know whether the province is putting out, the county's putting out, or you're putting out. But the word must is in there a few times. And whenever I see must, I see that council's hands are tied. Who puts that word in there?
Go on, please.
Through your worship, was this in the text of the report itself or was?
Yes, I have to find it here.
If it's in the text of the report, you don't have to take that seriously. That's just my text.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you have concerns aligned with that?
Well, no, it's just, my concern mostly is if the province or the county are saying must, what is the point of the council even having zoning or committee of adjustments? Because it's been predetermined by outside sources, and I don't really like that. We're the ones that are supposed to make what the positive things for the township, and I don't like the some of the wording in it.
Go on, if you don't mind, please.
Through your worship, just to clarify, so in the PPS, the word shall is used quite a bit. So decision making is still with council and committee. That hasn't changed. What they're trying to indicate with the word shall is that any decisions made should align with provincial policy. In the case that it doesn't align with provincial policy, still the decision is up to county and decisions up to council and the committee. And if it ever does come up in an appeal, that's only an issue then. That's a risk that's dealt with then.
Okay, that's all I had on F. Now on G, with the rural severances, I guess my same concern is there about whether council has any control over this. And a couple statements in there, I wonder maybe we should rethink about large parcels are essential for agriculture production. I disagree with you there. We have some very successful small farmers on smaller acreages into niche products. And I don't think we should come out and say that the only way you can make success in Warwick Township farming is having a large operation. Actually, we've had, which you probably already know, we've had quite a few lot line adjustments from parcels that were in 200 acres, and large farmers split them back into 100 acres. So I don't know if that is maybe the best thought in there. And that's all I had on that. Thank you.
Okay, Johan, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that, please.
Through your worship, sorry. That's a great point that you're making. That's just, this is a report for information, basically. And that was basically, I was just describing provincial policy, right? So provincial policy they don't want any fragmentation less than 38 hectares. That's what that is. And that's the explanation there. It's my understanding that the county of Lambton didn't like it. They tried fighting the province on that and we lost, right? To a lot of your points, right? That again is just provincial policy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, just to add to with Wayne, by looking at the provincial policies statement and section 2.5 rural areas and municipalities, it states accommodating an appropriate range and mix of housing in rural settlements in Ontario. So by landlocking these abilities, I think we're not following the provincial policy.
Go on, please.
Just to clarify that further, so any residential, the more residential we allow, including more residential severances, that comes at the impact of agriculture, and our focus in agriculture, in the agriculture areas, is agriculture, right? So what provincial policy is talking about there is where it's allowed, you can have more unit types. In this case, it would be ADUs, for example. So you would have a primary unit, a primary dwelling unit, and you can have additional dwelling units on residential properties within the rural area. That's what that's speaking to.
Okay, anybody else have a question for Johan? So just to be clear, the council still has the right to voice their opinion, vote against or for. It still is a decision we can make here. It may be against provincial policy, but at the end of the day, they still have the right to make that decision as an elected body, as a council. Johan?
Through your worship, that's correct.
Thank you. Does that clarify for everybody and answer the questions? Very good then. So what I would ask for is, if there's no other questions on any of the other items, A to G, I would ask for a motion to receive and file A to G. Council saw fit. Councillor Morris is making that motion, seconded by Councillor Manning. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's go to number 13 if we can, council, and this is reports and items requiring a motion. The first one is the action correspondence, and we have 4 items for the action correspondence today. As always, I'll read them out. Stop me if you wish to deal with one of these particular items. So 10-55. That's okay. So we're going to deal with 10-55 first. And it's a piece of correspondence from Good Roads, establishment of Ontario Rural Road Safety Program. And they're looking for us, they have a motion for us to consider, depending on how council feels. How does council wish to deal with 10-55? If I don't see anybody, I'll move on to the next one. Very good. I'll deal with 10-56, County of Lambton, nominations for the Thames, Sydenham and Region Drinking Water Source Protection Committee. The member that is currently there has stepped down, so asking if anybody has anyone they wish to nominate. This time, does anybody have anybody they wish to nominate? Seeing none. 10-57, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, draft conservation land strategy, and they're looking for feedback. Does anybody have any feedback they'd like to offer to the Conservation Authority at this time? Seeing none. Very good. We'll go to 10-58. This one I think we had last time, if I'm not mistaken. This is Mike Brown, request for written permission for trapping. I believe we had this one last time. Maybe Clerk, if I could ask, did we ask for this to be brought back? I'm trying to
You asked for
remember.
clarification.
Clarification, did we actually get clarification? Okay, so the clarification is, sorry,
Okay. So last time he just asked for trapping, but didn't clarify if you wanted to be on the list or if you want to just trap within a municipality. This is him asking to trap within the municipality, but he needs written permission according to the Ontario Fur Managers Federation.
all right, thank you. Does that clarify for council? Does it make it crystal clear? How does council wish to deal with this piece of correspondence, if any at all? Councillor Morris.
Well, I think we need to discuss it a little bit. Like his first sentence, I'm seeking written permission from Warwick Council to be able to trap on township property. To me, that's along the roads. I don't know if that's a good idea. You got a dog running or something like that, and I just don't know if that's a good, if he wants to trap within Warwick Township on private land, I have no problem. But along township roads, I'm a little, no, I don't think so, in my books.
Anybody else want to jump in on this one? Yes, Joe, please.
Yeah, I'm not very comfortable with the ambiguity of that term either, township property. That's a pretty open-ended statement. That's a lot of area we have here. And, yeah, I honestly, and I don't know in the past what precedence has been for this, but I'm assuming like everybody's kind of, this hasn't been asked before. We've never allowed it before. I would be, again, if he needs permission to trap in our township, I'm good with that, but I'm not comfortable with on township property.
But Councillor Westgate.
I don't think we've ever given permission before to trap on township property. Now, these traps would be in the bottom of the bigger ditches where there's water all the time. They'd be for muskrat or beaver. And it's good for us to get rid of the muskrat and beaver for drains and stuff because they do tend to climb up the drains, plug them up. Or beaver especially, they'll back up our creeks and flood land, and that's part of the reason we had water coming across the 402, I think. So I don't mind them trapping. I just wonder if we have any liability if they're trapping on our property. If a kid happened to get into a trap,
Dog, anything.
well, then it depends a lot on what kind of traps he's using.
Yeah.
If he's using a snap trap, somebody could step in and screw up an ankle or something, but I'm not exactly sure. I think we maybe have to give them permission to trap in our creeks and stuff, but on township property, I'm not so sure. Or should we give them permission to trap within the township?
So of course, to trap anybody, to trap anywhere, you need a property owner's permission to do that. I think this individual realizes that. He's asking us about our own, what our property along our roadways. Sounds to me like we're not comfortable in doing that at this particular time. Am I reading the room properly? So I guess the only thing we could do is send him a letter back and just say, at this particular time, we don't feel comfortable. If there's any information he can bring forward to state where it's being done in other communities or whatever in their process, he's welcome to provide that. But it seems like today we're not ready to move forward on that. Am I correct? Sure. Yeah, Councillor Manning.
Like, to Jerry's point, to Councillor Westgate's point on the, you know, the necessity of it, I agree with that. Maybe if even they can clarify in the future of the process of the trapping, so we know, because I know some trapping's done with traps, they're with the snap traps, but they're in cages. And also the game that he's gonna be trapping, then we can have a clear answer. But with, like I said, the ambiguity of this, it's just trapping on township property, that's too open-ended for my likings.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so maybe we can send him a letter or have a conversation with him and just maybe ask if he wants to offer any other kind of clarification or examples. Maybe state the kind of traps he's using and so on. So, okay, thank you, council. So I would ask for a motion to receive and file the action correspondence if I could. Councillor Morris, thank you. Deputy Mayor Kellenberg is seconding that. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Let's go to 13B, and this is the flexible working arrangement and personnel, such as personal days. I'm going to make a motion to table that right now until our very next council meeting of November 18th. Is there a seconder to that team? Councillor Morris, thank you. and there's no discussion on a tabling motion, so I'm going to call the vote. All in favor of that? That's carried. Thank you. Let's go to 13C if we can. And this is the meeting calendar. And there is a recommendation for council to consider on approving the meeting calendar for next year. How does council wish to do with that piece of business?
I just got one question. I know Heather does a lot of work putting this together. We have a committee of adjustment meeting set April 1st, which is right in the middle of Good Roads. I think, if I read it right. I think it's April 1st. Okay, that's the only thing that I caught in it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Morris. Anybody else have any questions about the new calendar? Okay, there is a recommendation to approve the new calendar we'll make it with that one change, with that amendment on that particular date. Okay. Did I get a mover and seconder? Could I get a mover and seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg is moving it, seconded by Councilor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We're going to go to 13D. And this is a recommendation on natural gas equipment. And the recommendation is that Council of Township of Warwick advise staff to proceed with the conversion of equipment to natural gas. And this is for our public works yard, as everybody knows. How does council wish to do with this recommendation? Councilor Morris.
Well, I have a question. I guess $9,000 seems an awful lot. How many furnaces are involved?
Based on the quote attached, there's 6 nozzles that have to be changed over.
And how many furnaces?
Just one.
I'd like to see another estimate. Like that, anybody I've talked to that's got this done has never been that high. I just think I'm wondering if we should maybe get a second opinion.
Okay, Councilor Westgate.
I believe there'll be more than just one furnace. There's the one in the office part, and then there's some overhead ones out in the shop areas.
I've been told it's $1,500 per nozzle. It's not based on per furnace. I'd have to go back and do a poll of it with Ray to find out exactly how many. But there's six nozzles that are converted over, roughly 1,500, which is what we were told at the start of the project.
I have no concern then if there's 6, just seemed like for one furnace, it seemed like an awful lot. But those overhead ones, they got to change the orifice and the nozzle, then it may be add up there pretty quick. So I removed my question.
Thank you, Councilor.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Do we have a mover and seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, seconded by Councilor Manning. Any further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. And then we have 13E. This is a request from the YMCA for a new signage for branding on our new community hall. And there's a recommendation attached to that as well. Does anybody have any questions on this particular one? Councilor Morris.
Just a comment. I think it's a great idea. More we can show that our community is evolving and we got a why and all this kind of stuff in the new building. I think it's great. I make a motion that we allow it to happen. Yes.
Do we have a seconder to the recommendation? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg? Further discussion, if any? I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Council, is there any new business for today? No, seeing none. Okay, well, this ends the public portion of our meeting today. Thank everybody for tuning in to our Warwick Township YouTube page. And now I'd like to ask for a motion to move into camera pursuant to the Municipal Act, Section 239, established in 2001, to deal with a matter regarding personnel matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a matter regarding labor relations or employee negotiations, and a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which is disclosed and could reasonably expected to prejudice the significance of the competitive position of the company itself. Do I have a mover for that? Moved by Counselor Manning, seconded by Counselor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.